Welcome to Podcast This Escape, the podcast where we talk about the escape room we escaped from in the previous episode of this podcast. Leia, thank you so much. We did it. We escaped.
We saved so many lives.
That was a lot of fun. It was a big room, but it was very enjoyable. It was a lot of. It was very fun. Just 5 like little sub puzzles of medical history.
Yeah, I wanted to do a variety of puzzles that involve different senses, and I kind of like choose your own adventure type things, and I love find it games like Nancy Drew. So
yeah, fair enough.
It was great fun.
And obviously you can tell, like, both we know you love creating like educational entertainment experiences. We just know that about you, and that you have extensive medical experience.
Yeah,
it all comes into play.
I definitely have learned that I can't do something just for funsies. Like, it has to be educational. Like, my husband would like throw out an idea. I'd be like, that's fine, but what are you learning from that?
Nice. No, I loved it. I love how much learning we're getting from these ones. It feels good that we released our first episode saying, hey, it's National Science Week. Look at this bit of science. And everyone for the entire rest of the year is just running with that. It's nice.
Yep, very much so.
And yet there hasn't been crossover yet.
No. I really like, so obviously, yeah, like when we talk about the inspiration for these rooms, it's fairly clear where the inspiration came from in terms of this is sort of elements of your life as normal. You are
and just
an ancient Roman
gladiator.
You have. Yes.
So you clearly, I understand why you came in specifically with a medical theme. What made you think I'm going to try and do like teleport you to parts of history? It's a very cool idea and it's really nicely implemented. When like. Was that your first sort of idea, or did it take you a while to come up with something?
I think it was one of my first ideas. I love origin stories. So like whenever there's a word, I want to find out where it came from, or when people are doing stuff, I'm like, why are we doing that? Where did it come from? And I find it interesting how many times people are like so quick to dismiss natural healthcare stuff, and they don't understand that most of our modern day medicines originated from plants.
And we keep doing things. Anytime you see, big possible future scientific update, and it has come from, we just found this random worm and something that's going on in that worm's guts.
Exactly. And it could be a worm that maybe some ancient people used a while ago.
Yeah.
And now we're like, oh, hey, they used it for a reason. So honey's one of the big ones. For a while, people are like, oh, honey, that's outdated. No, it's not. It's great to use. And I will say you don't need the expensive like $100 Medi honey either. You can just buy the Bear from the store. As long as it doesn't have like blackberry jam, you're fine.
No, yeah, as long as you are still treating things right, and we know a lot more about infection risks and things like that, so you can still do all of your modern management of these things. Like, yeah, maybe if you usually drink honey from the jar, maybe that honey is a bit more questionable than some proper sealed stuff, but...
Yeah, and it works great, and it's cheap and cheerful, and I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool doing that sort of stuff. And see, I absolutely love bugs and insects and creepy crawlies being used in medicine. Like, yeah, we've got leeches. It's definitely an old treatment. Definitely, like, still a thing that has relevance in what's going on. Some people had questionable ideas of when you needed to lose blood, but...
Yes, yeah, when bloodletting was appropriate, that was more questionable. But yeah, we still use leeches. So we use them a lot for like digit amputation. So one of my students got their fingers chopped off by a lawnmower, and they were able to reattach them. And the leech saliva has a numbing agent and an anticoagulant, and it provides the suction. So it reestablishes blood flow in those tiny areas.
Oh, so like... when you want to reattach something, making sure that the blood flows back into it is important, so you anticoagulate it? Oh, I love that. I love the one of the ants that you can use for stitches. That was a cool one. The ants, if I remember rightly, the ant, you make them bite you, and then if you, like, pull their body off, their head clamps down, like a tick apparently does when you try to pull it off.
Yeah,
and the clamp down.
That's ridiculous.
Oh,
yep.
That's so weird.
And we use the maggots for like our burn patients because it's much less painful than debriding them physically. Like the maggots will do it. Bee stings, that's where hyaluronic acid that you see in so many facial creams now, it's originated from bee stings. And like that's where they got the idea.
Botox is venom as well. when you're doing that sort of thing. Yeah, we just put paralytics in ourselves for fun. That's so cool. Yeah, it's really exciting. And that was definitely like regardless of like, how this compares to escape rooms I've done, this is an experience that I really enjoyed, just going through it. It is absolutely the sort of thing that I feel like the right level of knowledgeable and unknowledgeable about. In that nice little wiggle room where I have enthusiasm, I've heard of some of these things. I don't really know what I'm doing with them, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's good. Like, yeah,
Good,
I don't know where lidocaine comes from, but it probably came from something.
The coca plant. So the coca plant, lidocaine, which is also a vasoconstrictor. So yes, it numbs, but it also clamps down.
Tightens.
And then epinephrine, of course, as well. So.
I didn't know that at all. Yeah, I had no idea where epinephrine came from. And yeah, how did you find it? Like, did you, with, like, trying to make the balance, because I found this quite difficult when I was doing my goat's room, finding the balance of making sure that you're not just saying things that people definitely know or have no capability of knowing if they haven't studied it.
Yeah, that was tricky. So at first, like with the compatibilities, I actually had drug names, but I noticed that people just like kind of automatically shut down with those big complex words. And so I just made it like antibiotic, chemo.
I wondered about that.
But the compatibility chart it's a very simplified version of a big compatibility chart that we actually use. And hilariously, it's usually on the back door of a medicine room, but I didn't want to add one more room. So I just put it in the binder.
Nice. I feel like one of the good things that we've learned about medicine throughout time is that, no, just write down instructions, write down everything everywhere. It doesn't make a doctor or a nurse less professional if they don't have it all memorized at all times.
Exactly. Yes. Use your references. There's too much knowledge out there. Like,
right.
Yeah, use your references. And the part I think for me that was hardest, besides the drug names and things like that, is to scale down the room in size. Because I realized like I could probably make a whole arc of this concept on its
without
own.
a doubt.
Yeah, you can just do 10 patients, 10 rooms, each one. Because each one did feel like a little mini escape room. It was like, here's a new room, new set of stuff that's in here, new info.
I thought that the balance of amount to do in each room was pretty spot on, like not too overwhelming. There weren't a million things to do in each one.
No, but there was enough that they still felt like it justified them being spaces of their own.
I'm going to remember each and every one of them very clearly. And
that's what I was hoping for. And I also wanted to provide like a perspective outside of traditional Western medicine. So that's why I had the Chinese medicine. So that body clock and that elemental chart, that's all real. That is that concept.
Wild.
Yep. It's the 2-hour blocks. And then also they do associate certain organs with certain times. So if you're always in pain at like 8 a.m. or something like that, then you associate it with the corresponding organ and element.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So can I ask you all a question?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
What did you think about getting paged out of Mountain Man's room to go back to room 5?
I thought it was a fun immersion. The also funny part was we have these audio clips in front of us, and we know that one of them has the word lungs in it. And when you told us you're going to be pressing audio assessment C as opposed to audio assessment lungs, that was quite a moment of, wait a minute, what's happening
Why
here?
would we be doing that?
But it was very much, I think that the feeling worked really well of not really knowing exactly what was going on with the beeping and it taking a second to register that it probably wasn't coming from a patient's lungs and probably something that we can focus on outside and everything. I thought that felt very appropriate immersion-wise, as we have been transported to the 1800s. It is going to take us a moment to click that something like that is going on.
And I think it's good. It's also nice from like a character-y perspective, like an immersion-y character perspective of the room to be like, oh, this guy again. Hold on, let's go back and do it. And it feels, and I think it's nice. It makes it feel more like you're doing something in a space as opposed to here are 5 puzzles. Would you like to do 5 puzzles? It makes it feel more like a space that exists in a real way.
Much like
which was great.
One of the things that I enjoyed about Marvel's Spider-Man 2018 video game was how much there were tasks being thrown at you and people talking at you all the time, to the point where you really felt like Peter Parker is really under pressure when he's being Spider-Man. There are lots of things going on at once, and you can change direction on a whim and try to get everything done, and it's difficult. And I feel like the same is very appropriate in a nursing-themed room.
And that's exactly what I wanted to get across. Because honestly, all the playtesters got annoyed and they're like, maybe you should change that. Maybe you should cut that out because it's really distracting to have to shift your focus.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
the point. Yeah,
it is.
It makes it.
But
what I also liked, I really liked starting with that because it allowed us to go, all right, we're at the stage where we are the most decision paralyzed, right? Where you could look at anything. And it feels and you kind of learn, like, let's arbitrarily just start somewhere. And that was nice to not have that be arbitrary, to be like, start here. You're like, great. Okay,
yeah, he
let's go
was
start
paced
there.
out very well.
So that worked out that's a really nice way to introduce into the room, to be like, here's a thing. Why don't you just go do that? Someone's asked you to go here. And you're like, great. Okay, I can start and I don't have to worry. Which is nice. And it's nice to have to deal with a patient specifically so that, like, the one that is in the modern day, we deal with first, so that it's not like a letdown if we're looking for what crazy new time period we're going to go to. It's like, that's just still now. And it also allows us to be more shocked when we go to the next one and travel through time.
It really did.
So it's paced really nicely. I think starting with that, making us go to room 5 works out really well.
Thank you. Good. I'm glad, because yes, that was the goal, is to orient you to the space and the patient and the kind of situation. Yep.
I found it very funny how much, like, you described it when we walked into the exhibit, when it was still an exhibit, as medicine through the various ages, and then as soon as it became magic and you're in the hospital now, yeah, I did forget about it and was very shocked when transporting happened.
It was a good surprise.
Definitely. Billy, what was your favorite part or proudest solve?
I feel like I very much had all of the solutions pre-done for the jungle snakebite room or spider bite room.
Nice.
I was like, all right, I know what we're going to see. Let's get the impressions of the bites. Don't worry about what's in those powder bags. That's going to be the powdered form of the leaves, which aren't ready yet, but they have a smell, so we can associate the picture with the shape, with the smell, with the powder, with the bag, with the solution. It's all good. Like, I feel like we went into that one, I was like, don't worry. I already know how this entire puzzle is structured and I've solved it. I just don't know what I need to know yet, but I know the solution. So I felt good about that one. I really felt like I was on the ball and saw it straight away.
Nice.
So that one I felt good.
You guys did great with that.
I really enjoy it. And I know it's not part of escape rooms as a thing that is meant to be there, but I always say that I really appreciate being able to use outside knowledge. I find it fun. And just the minimal amounts of outside knowledge that you can use to make you just feel like a little bit like, yeah, I totally know what I'm doing here. Like, oh, yeah, there's going to be honey. Yeah, I absolutely know that that's good for medical stuff. Oh, I can just throw out the word, oh, we've got a necrotic wound. Maybe some maggots will show up at some point. I love being able to do things like that.
And especially because the room provides them to you anyway. All it gives you is a sense of smugness to be like, we're going to get some willow, aren't we? But it doesn't actually affect the gameplay, which I think is the right level of design for outside
It doesn't
knowledge.
mean you can cut
doesn't
corners.
Actually skip anything, but it just makes you know what's coming and feel good about it. But you wouldn't feel bad if you didn't.
Yeah.
Because it never asks you for it. So I think that worked out quite well. Yeah, is that what you felt best about, the smugness?
I mean, that's definitely what made me feel the happiest about it.
Did you feel good about any particular solution?
I like Doc Brown. I like figuring out
that
seeing
fun.
those letters, because, yeah, we haven't really done any wordplay-based ones at any point, and then just getting there at
and
the
you
end.
got it so quickly. You're like, oh, it's Doc Brown. And I was like, oh, and I had to do it because, you've got McFly. My name's Leia, so I was named after Leia Thompson. And so I was like, there's too much overlapping. And it was about going back in time. And I was like, there's too many coincidences to not use that reference.
On that note, do you have a name for your episode? Lots of people are nominating their own 80s movie references as names.
I don't.
Well, it feels like we're giving ourselves an opportunity.
Yeah.
The only one I floated out was like Back to the Suture. But
that's so
I love
good.
Back to the Suture. I'll write that down in big letters down here. Back to the Suture. That's so good.
And then on the boxes, the other letters spell out, these are red herrings. Sorry.
That's fun.
Back to the Suture is so good.
It's only one letter different. No, it was great. Did you have a moment as well? Like often, I'll ask this to Danny on the ones that Danny has written, but do you have one that you're happiest with from like a pride of writing? You're like, oh, that's a good puzzle. I really feel good about that one.
I really like the jungle room with the biting of the template. I don't know why. Like it's kind of very find it game, very Nancy Drew, right?
You
like
should be very proud of the biting thing because I don't know how long it would have taken me to try to test out their bites on something.
Yeah, I just thought I need to know how.
It totally makes sense. I just don't think that's
and
the
I think
thing
it's
that
a
my
really
brain
good
does.
example of language being a really nice clue and a director in rooms like this, right? Where if you had said there are two there's a little bite mark, right? It's fairly small. Then it's like, okay, it's fairly small, whatever, they probably all have small bites. And it wouldn't necessarily have led, I think, to the idea of let's start to specifically measure their bites. But when you go, there is a bite mark, the two puncture wounds are 1 centimeter apart. It's like, okay, there's an exactness to that description, which means I might be able to find an exactness in something else, right? Like, I now know if I find something and I'm told that it's 2 centimeters apart, that it is wrong. You know, like, because there's specificity, it makes you look for specificity. I want to measure the bites because I'm given a measurement of a bite, effectively. And I think it's a really good example of how to use your description to influence how hard a puzzle is. And often when you think about, like, making puzzles harder or more difficult or easier or more relatable or to keep people on track, you don't actually often need to change anything about the puzzle. And it's stuff like that where you change to be like, people aren't getting to measure the bites. Why don't I just mention a measurement and we'll see if it happens? And I think it's a really good example of how that works.
And Danny and Bill, I totally agree. But to your point about like you weren't sure about the bites, so Bill was on it and he like knew to go get the tarp to do the bite template. But if you had explored the fruits in more detail, that you see that some are old and bruised. I use words like that, and rubbery skin. And then one of the hints along there is like, oh, your tummy grumbles as you look longingly at one of the mangoes. You'd love to sink your teeth into it. So I like
so you can add extra hint.
Push it in case people are getting without being like, go stick the fruit in there. I do like that Bill grabbed the snake and just wanted to grab the snake and go traumatize the patient again. Like, hey, is this what bit you?
I might know. Well, that's the other thing you mentioned earlier, not about something that you specifically didn't change from playtesting, which is the annoying element of the beeping, which I agree with. I think you made the right call. Was there much that did change throughout the playtesting? Is this room pretty much in the form that you first designed it, or is it very different?
It reduced. So the ending took a while to figure out what I wanted to do, because originally I wanted to do something where you ran like a code, because I know how much you like music and stuff. So I wanted to do something like compression to breath ratio, like pick out a soundtrack that goes with the CPR. But
we got that in when we were using the stethoscope anyway. That was our musical moment.
Exactly. And those are real body sounds. So,
nice.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yep. So it really does sound like crackling, or some people say like Velcro, like when the lungs have fluid in them. And then the heart, that was an S3, which is volume overload. So.
Oh, that's very fun.
Now, are these just like sound clips that you happen to have, or did you specifically get these from human bodies for this room?
I did not have a good enough sample pool of people with those ailments. So I used what I used for my students to train. Cool. And like the IV compatibility, that's a puzzle that I do with my students. I just added the shapes and the color coding to kind of make it a little bit more friendly.
That's great.
Well, I feel like I have passed some sort of course right now and that I'm qualified to give medical treatment.
There you go.
Perfect. So, I mean, aside from all the actual design stuff that for this specifically as just a room, how did you enjoy the process of like writing a room with 10 other people, or at least 10 other? I think there were more people involved than there were just
what
for
was
the 10
that
rooms.
like?
What was the whole collaborative process like?
Well, there is a reason I chose to be the art supervisor and not the project manager. Because I do enough of that with my students and it's like herding cats. But no, I think overall the group, like we got along really well. The first couple of meetings were just like complete chaos of brainstorm ideas. And one of the things we were trying to decide like what direction to take it. And there was going to be something about like is it going to be a birthday wish or where's the setting? And somehow we landed on museums, and we were trying to explain to Owen what an interactive children's museum was, but I guess that's not a thing in Australia, or at least not a thing he was familiar with.
There is. You just have to say the word Questacon.
Yeah.
It's
like Questacon.
Obviously, no one would just say
Powerhouse
without
is a bit
knowing.
like-
Powerhouse a little bit, but I get the feeling that would click a little bit less. Everyone's got Questacon.
Maybe.
I've never
If Owen
heard of
doesn't
that
know
before.
Questacon, he can be shamed.
Oh, no, it's just a specific... Well, there's no reason you'd have heard of it. It's a specific museum, children's interactive sciencey thing in Canberra.
And we go on interstate excursions to go there as kids.
See, and I was thinking maybe that's my escape to Australia plan is I'll start an interactive children's museum because there didn't seem to be one. Because we were like trying to show him, I sent him pictures of my kids at the one in Memphis, and they were in like this dentistry room, and just for the life of him, it just wasn't clicking. And he's like, no, I don't think we should have a dentist room that's already interactive. Like it was this whole thing. So that's why in my room there's a jar of Owen's teeth, because in some way I had to work in dentist, and we teased him the whole design process about it. But no, the group was really great, and Sandra was also really helpful in like scheduling all the play tests, which
Nice.
They're still working on. So it was a good team effort. I'm like I said, I was glad I was on art.
Yeah, so I don't like you did a lot of the art for the things that are like
Meta.
arc-wide, meta illustrations, right? You did the passports and the map of the museum as well, I'd assume.
No, so Owen did the map of the museum. I did the passport, which, full disclosure, I kind of borrowed off the passport I was already using for my kids' activity that they were doing on the side.
Oh, no. Not self-plagiarism.
I
the
know.
worst type of plagiarism.
Theirs was a spy achievement little passport booklet because we did Secret Agent Summer. And so I was like, so I'm like, oh, this translates well.
But then I know you also did art for like the first room had some art that you had done as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do it for anyone else's, or is how collaborative was that?
So there's me, and then there's another person who's been doing the art. Some people just chose to want to do their own things. Yeah. But I'm sprinkled in here and there in the other episodes. So like the next one you'll do, I think I'm working on some of that stuff. So yeah. But yeah, it's been a good collaboration. I think the biggest thing was, just making sure we didn't step on each other's toes. Like, because I was doing medical, and then someone else was like, well, I want to do mole magnification, right? Because like, okay, well, I shouldn't use anything that has a microscope because there's already going to be a room that's dedicated to that. So there's just a little bit of coordination with that.
Yeah, nice. It is always interesting working with other people and trying to be like, oh, that's a really cool idea. I better not do it because you've got something really cool, so I don't want to take away from that.
Exactly. Yeah. And we were being weirdly secretive because we needed each other to play test the rooms. So we didn't want to like disclose the puzzle ahead of time. So we were all developing things like, but I need to know what puzzles you're doing so that I know what not to do.
That's fun. I always wonder that, steering in another direction, about Good Job Brain. Now they do that when they just will come to each other and say, okay, here's our topic for this episode. How do they make sure that they don't accidentally do the same topics as each other or come up with the same quiz questions as each other when they've got a topic narrowed down like that? And it happens so rarely. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we talk to them about it, they're just like, oh, we just wing it.
Yeah. It just works.
It just seems to never come up. Which is great.
Meanwhile, when I had to do a topic for their show, I went through their entire backlog to make sure that it hadn't been done before.
True.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, No Such Thing as a Fish, I think, does a similar thing where they talk about a fact and they don't overlap that often. So I don't know. It was good. It was a good experience. I think everyone is still friends at the end of it.
That's good to hear. That's always what you want.
Although I guess we're halfway through, but
Oh, what was that thing you want to mention, Danny, about puzzle designing?
Oh, I just know that Leah had more to say to show off all of the cool puzzle work that she does in life.
Well, so I do a lot of things, mostly kid related, because I teach at the college level. And what I've noticed is my students come in and they're very smart. Don't get me wrong. They're very smart. But the critical thinking piece is something that we work to develop. And so that's why I love simulation, because it gives you that space to think through, a safe space to think through a problem and to fail forward. And I think simulation and escape rooms kind of go hand in hand with that, where you get a chance to fail forward. And to my students, fail is a 4-letter word. Like, it's the worst thing in the world to them, but I think it's so important. And so, yeah, so I've started doing it with my kids. Like, I think as early as age 2, we were doing like pattern recognition and little bits of logic just to help them build. And so now the neighborhood kids have kind of gotten into it. So I build, you know, activities like secret agent camp for them.
That's so nice.
Right?
But
I love it.
I remember in high school, when we were in, I don't know, year 10, year 11 or something like that, the teachers worked together on a project and they called it The Dome. And it was essentially a big inter-subject scavenger hunt for the year 7s. Where they would have to do stuff. And all of us were furious.
That you didn't get to do it?
This is outrageous.
But I also think it's one of those things, sometimes when people talk about like escape rooms in an educational context, there's a focus on like, how can it deliver knowledge of like specific knowledge? Like, how can it deliver like facts about history or facts about science? And it's like,
which we did get in your room.
Yeah, we did get, and we've done ourselves, like for the goat room. And things like that, like, the idea of it delivering actual kind of tangible facts. But I think sometimes there is an overlooking of, no, the act of actually just looking at something that isn't related to anything else,
making
and
these
knowing how
observations,
to
making
think,
these connections,
practicing that, the idea of connecting things and doing puzzles, that is valuable education in and of itself how to address information, rather than coming out with a tangible list of, here are the facts I now know about the Civil War, you know? And I think that's really valuable.
Exactly. Yes, it's that processing. Do I need more information? You know, where can I apply this? It's more than just memorize and regurgitate. You have to actually think through it. And then there's a collaboration aspect too. So a lot of my students don't love group work, but in an escape room or simulation or healthcare, it's really important to communicate effectively. And so I think it's like really good team building skills and leadership and giving people feedback without hurting their feelings too badly, you know, but be like, no, I think we should try this. And to try something, fail, figure out why you failed, what went wrong, and then you can correct it. Because I'm very much Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus. That's my philosophy: is make those mistakes, because that's where you learn.
I love it. And yeah, I do that when I tutor. I like, if they've made a mistake, if they're feeling hard on themselves for not getting something, I say, that's okay. This is the place to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's your safe place.
Failure is a big thing. I get talk about that a lot in. And this is my world outside of puzzles and other things like that. In martial arts stuff, teaching martial arts classes or attending martial arts classes, all this sort of stuff, talking about failure, and be like, look, if you turn up and you never do anything wrong and everything you do is perfect, well, then you could have just stayed home. Like, you just turned up to show off.
It's the same with roller skating as well,
right? Like, if you haven't failed at any point during the class, well, then you never tried to do a thing that you couldn't already do, so you weren't getting any better. Right? Like, the failure is going, oh, okay, that's how that doesn't work. Now I might get one step closer to how it does work. And it's an important part of all learning environments, I think, is controlled failure.
And it is a thing that can need to be practiced as well, because I feel like this can happen. I assume, like you said, a lot of your students are very smart. People who are, let's say, naturally gifted don't have as much natural experience with failure at a young age, which means it can be harder to deal with when it happens, even if it is a completely fine, completely acceptable, and completely productive thing to have to go through.
Yes. No, I agree. I was the gifted kid and perfectionist and type A, and well, I thought I was type A. Now I see some people, I'm like, oh, wow, I am quite relaxed compared to that. But yeah, it is. And there's a lot of pressure too, to be perfect, especially when you're with high achievers in your same group, is like, you don't want to show weakness. Yeah. But I think vulnerability is an essential human skill, especially for healthcare workers, but humans in general. And then one of the other things I love about like simulations, escape rooms, and Taskmaster too. So I do a lot of things that kind of interweave Taskmaster-esque things into my escape rooms for my kids. But it embraces neurodiversity. And so, you know, in the traditional academic setting, it's the people who are good at memorizing and test taking, they excel. But what about the people who are creative thinkers or good at art or good at social skills or whatever the case may be? I like giving them a chance to shine and see how everyone's strengths are needed to achieve a goal.
Yeah.
But I'm also, so I'm in one of the many hats that I wear, I'm also the chairperson of the inclusivity committee, or whatever we renamed it to, because, you know, the word inclusive somehow is bad now. Spoiler, it's not. So I do a lot of stuff, you know, that advocates for things outside of just standardized test taking. And in my room, I really wanted to make sure that I was inclusive. So that's why there's like things that were more, you know, different senses, right? If your hearing and processing is different. I did a lot of images. We were talking about the art. I did a lot of images that weren't strictly necessary for the room, but I felt would be beneficial for people who aren't auditory processors.
I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I'm hilariously also not great at auditory processing. I re-listen to podcasts quite a lot because I have, ooh, look, a squirrel, and my brain goes elsewhere. So I have to rewind and listen. But yeah, so I tried to do a lot of inclusivity with that. I also wanted to make sure that I broke stigmas. So I had a male nurse doing the shift report and things like that.
Nice.
Which I'm proud of. There's a lot of other like little nods and things to different abilities throughout, but that was something that I focused on.
This probably won't even make the edit, but I just want to ask, and who knows, maybe you'll have a great answer to it. Does your teaching or education that you've had really focus on not having red and green things together because of the high proportion of colorblind people?
So we don't, but that is something. So now in our like learning management systems, we run accessibility checkers. So red and green and contrast and things like that.
Yeah, that was like the one thing that when I did biology at uni, they really hammered that home whenever we were doing presentations.
Really?
Yeah.
That is interesting. It used to be a bigger problem when we had Scantrons, like fill in with the pencil, because they were red. And so that was challenging for students. But you know, what's becoming a growing field, and this is kind of sad, is physical therapy for the eyes. Because kids today are on screens so much that their eyes aren't learning how to do like the depth of adjustment to 3-dimensional objects. So they have to go to physical therapy to train their eyes how to move, basically.
That's fascinating.
That is wild.
Oh God, I've never thought of that. That's weird. The eyes are already messed up enough.
The red-green colorblind thing, I think is one of these ones where I think the thing that makes it so prevalent and so frustrating is like to deal with is it like if you're red-green colorblind, which is very, very common, you shouldn't have red and green contrasted against each other.
Yeah.
If you're not red-green colorblind, it looks real good. Like it just looks really good. There's a reason it comes up so often because if you're not red-green colorblind, you're just like red-green. Oh, what a beautiful thing to put next to each other. It just looks great. Yep. It's very Christmassy. It's very like there's stop and go. Like it just feels like it's not like if someone came out and said, "Oh, I'm like yellow purple colorblind. I'm not good when yellow and purple," and you'd be like, "Okay, yeah, all right, that's fair. It's probably not going to come up that often." Red-green, it just feels so good.
I mean, there's still the nice complementary colors. Like, imagine if you were blue-orange colorblind, movie posters would be awful.
Oh, true. If you were purple-orange colorblind, you couldn't play Castlevania.
Oh, God. You don't think about these things. There was someone at my high school who just straight, I don't know what exactly her form of colorblindness was, but she would always say, "Hey, teachers, you're using the whiteboard, you have to use the black marker or I cannot see it."
Yeah.
That's a fascinating one.
Right?
And that is, it's just as you say, it's like you don't think of it until someone makes you think of it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, great, I'll add it to my list of things to think about because there's like, you just need exposure to these things to realize it's a problem.
Absolutely.
And some people then take the fact that they've had that exposure and they go like, well, now I must be a better person than you. It's like, well, no, you just knew more people that like, it's fine. Like you got to help expose people to that as an understanding rather than be like, and that makes me great.
The colorblindness stuff at university, we were never yelled at for it.
No, it's just good to remind you.
Informed of it repeatedly.
It's a thing you might not be thinking about because it's not a problem for you.
In the same way that we were reminded that the word data is plural over and over again.
Well, and I think it does. unfortunately, it does take like knowing someone sometimes or experiencing it yourself to build the empathy and be aware of it. Like I didn't realize mobility stuff near as much, even though I was a nurse, until I had twins and I'm trying to push a double stroller on places. And I'm like,
Whew.
why is there no ramp? Or why is the ramp like a mile long back and forth, when the stairs is a straight shot? Apparently has something to do with physics and incline, but that's but anyway, I became acutely aware of mobility things that I wasn't aware of before. So
yeah, definitely. And I guess just being in the nursing field, you get to have that experience over and over again of new things to be aware of.
It is. And what I would really love to see is us be more inclusive of people with disabilities in the healthcare field, because right now it's not, we're supposed to be taking care of these people, but we don't have a lot of empathy for people with like chronic conditions and disabilities because there's just not that representation in the field.
And
but we're getting better.
Yeah, I assume it can be challenging because there are some roles or some aspects of the job that are incredibly physical. There
are. So we've had students that only have one limb or in a wheelchair, and there was some concern from faculty like, oh, how are they going to do CPR? And I'm like, look, when CPR happened, like when someone codes, everyone floods into the room. Like they're going to be shoved to the side anyway. And there's just so many fields of healthcare that don't involve hands-on physical labor in that stance that you can still be a valid contributed member without
and so,
physically
again, that
doing it.
Brings in the whole really emphatic, this is a team.
Yes. So yeah, we're getting better, but we have a long way to go.
A good motto for the world, I'd say.
Yes, very much so. Did you have any questions about like the science of any of the rooms or any of the conditions? Because I have things I could talk about all day, but you are just starting your day, so you probably have things to do.
I mean, obviously, my first thing that I look to is all of the various animal bites and being able to tell what bit someone.
Yeah.
Assuming they don't know.
So, yeah, we don't normally, measure bite marks and do that whole kind of thing, because usually the thing that bit them is long gone. Some people do catch them, like they'll catch the snake and bring it in. But I guess if the snake's already let its venom go, you can't test it again anyway.
Yeah.
So we just have some kind of like routine things that we do. But the management is about the same, unless it's something like coursing through your veins and we have to do something emergency. But
yeah, we did that when I did zoo training briefly. One of the things they had, apparently, just snake bites were very definitely the thing that they wanted to make sure that you were well trained on. And because it was the biggest one that was, all right, if it happens, just don't move. Just stay exactly where you are and stop moving. Don't let your blood go around your body any faster. And we'll bring everything to you.
Yes. And don't do what they do on City Slickers. Like, no.
But yeah, I want to say that Australia, I haven't had to do a go to hospital for a bite situation, but I do know that I've seen just as advice online, they do things like that. They say, please don't bring the animal in. Take a photo of it. That's the best thing to do. So I know that taking a photo of what bit you is definitely a big practice just to make sure that you get the right thing.
Yes. Yeah, that is helpful. And Australia, again, I don't live there, so I'm not an expert. You have a variety of wildlife. Like here, we're pretty much, you got like a few spiders, a few types of snakes, but they're all pretty routine.
It could be that our variety means that you have to be a little bit more specific, or it's ideal to be a bit more specific about what treatments you give people. I don't know the exact details. All I know is loads of people are allergic to snake antivenom.
Oh, see, and I didn't know that snake bites really aren't that common here. We have I think our big concern with bites, like cat or dog bites can be really bad if they're punctures. You don't want to suture those up because it'll trap the bacteria. But then rabies is kind of our big thing. And it's not the bats. It's more like the squirrels, the raccoons, the possums.
Yeah. That's hard. Your squirrels are real cute.
What's rabies like in Australia?
Zero.
Are we rabiesless?
Yes, we are rabiesless. We have lyssavirus, which is a very closely related virus.
We don't have rabies.
We do not have rabies. That's why.
Really?
That's why we have really strict pet quarantine.
Yeah, so because we're an island.
I don't know if you got this incident some years ago where our deputy prime minister threatened to murder Johnny Depp's dogs.
Oh yeah, it was a whole big thing.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, so because you're an island, it's easier to animals that get rabies can't sort of wander into the country because and so you can only bring them. And so if you check really carefully for animals that are brought in, you can control. I think the UK is also no rabies in the UK. Japan might be the same because they have very strict animal import control stuff. I think there's a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, you'd like to bring your dog to Japan? No matter what, it has to be quarantined for 6 months. You're like, that's crazy. Yeah. There's some pretty strict stuff. But yeah, so the island nations like that. Whereas lyssavirus, we can't keep out because bats get it. So we couldn't stop them anyway because they'll fly over from wherever they want. But
you'd think that
rabies
would be the same true for rabies, but our bats just don't rabies.
They got Lyssa instead.
Yep.
But yeah, it is always interesting, this sort of things. Yeah, whereas because we have a lot of, if you get bitten and go to the hospital, it's probably because that thing is venomous. You should know which antivenom you need. What
was the lizard that you had in mind for these ones? Because I can think of plenty of venomous spiders and snakes, but lizards.
I think I was just thinking of iguanas, but I don't think it was an actual bad thing. I don't know. The Amazon has lots of things also that can kill you.
Yeah,
I know the spider I based off the Brazilian jumpy spider thingy because he's got a cute little brown fuzzy walrus face. Oh, he's so cute. But apparently he's one of the most dangerous spiders there are. So,
that's how they always get you.
Yeah, so I will say the lizard was one of the places that I kind of skirted on the accuracy. I did try to look up for everything else, make sure I was representing the science accurately while still being, approachable.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to overwhelm people. So the mountain illness room, that really is a condition. My brother-in-law had it because he lived up in the mountains in Nevada.
Whew.
And it's polycythemia. And there's a couple different ways to get it, but this is secondary. And it's because the high altitude makes the oxygen not bind to the blood cells as well. And so because your body's circulating less oxygen, it produces more blood so that it can oxygenate appropriately. Make it happen better. Yep.
Wow.
And so the treatment is therapeutic phlebotomy, which is bloodletting. But but not with leeches and stuff like that. You go and get venipuncture done.
Sure, but man,
you just put a little tap, and then you can turn the faucet, and it comes out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we do that with brain swelling. We do have a tap into people's brains, and we'll relieve the pressure with a little valve.
That's so wild.
And then the water displacement, the gladiator one, that's from my own experience. Yeah. And I think and maybe it's different, but in American education, they really don't focus on that, volume equals weight, like milliliters and milligrams, all that being equivalent.
Yeah, because you're not being taught in the metric system where it's really easy.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, we definitely get that.
Yeah, so I had a wound in my back, but there was only maybe a 0.5 centimeter entrance into it when we need to know how big it was. So my friend came over and put saline in there. And in the end, it ended up being 8 feet of 1/4 inch new gauze is what you could fill the wound with.
What?
Yeah. I will send you a picture if you ever don't mind being squeamish. But my poor husband had to learn sterile technique overnight because it was on my back. So I couldn't pack it myself. But that was the only way we could see how big the wound was.
Oh my God.
Right. And so it's just one of those handy skills that I feel like more people should know. There was an episode of Taskmaster, the one with Mike Wozniak, and they had to measure bits and bobs of Alex. I don't know if you remember that. And he started doing it. He started displacing water. And I think he knew what he was doing. I personally think he threw it because he was a doctor. So I think he knew what he was doing. But yeah, that's a perfect way to, at least with humans, to kind of measure weight, volume.
Because you've got a sort of generally a known density of person.
Being mostly water themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just presumably something we've probably measured a lot.
Yeah, but who knows that off the top of their heads?
Doctors.
Yes, well, that's
what's
how
a
we
human's
measure,
density? Danny, take a guess. What do you think a human's density is?
Oh my God.
On average, if you dip a whole person, I'll guess 2. If you're thinking 1 as being water.
Yeah, of course.
Are we more or less dense than what? We've got a lot of empty space inside.
Yeah, but some of our stuff has got to be densely packed in.
We float, right? So we have to be less dense than water.
Unless you breathe out. If you breathe out, you'll sink.
Oh, that's true. So maybe we're just right on. I'm going to say when 0.98.
1.02. I'll go the other way.
Human density. Oh, that's population density.
Human body density.
That's what I need. human body density, 985,
Oh,
0.985.
0.985. Okay, slightly less.
What did I say? 98?
Yep.
I got pretty close.
Yep, fair.
If you round really badly, I'm correct.
But it did say that it can vary for
No,
things
no, I'm
like
not reading
fat
that.
percentage and air in lungs.
No, I'm not going to read the rest that makes you correct. I'm just going to stop at the fact that makes me correct and then stop looking.
Well, and so with air, yes. So with the air, that goes into the other room with the bellows, because we started talking about in the episode, and Bill's like, that sounds like for debrief. And then my ADD kicked in. But with blowing air into people using different orifices in that mountain man room, that is a thing. That's legitimate. Like, it was done in the past, but they're actually finding that is a way to oxygenate people.
So how does it get from there to the places that it is needed to? Is it just really good at osmosing in from there?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So there's lots of medicines that we do rectal suppositories
That's true.
for.
I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that oxygen can do the same thing. But yeah, wow.
But we just didn't think of it, or I guess we did think of it, and then we thought, that's crazy because it wasn't working with tobacco. But yeah, people used to do like caffeine and all sorts of stuff that way.
You're right. You attach the word enema to things, and suddenly it feels like you've got a lot of weird trends.
Like I have learned to just to never rule anything out. Like we're still learning so much about science. And if it wasn't for COVID and us having a ventilator shortage and being desperate to find ways to oxygenate people,
oh man,
they probably wouldn't be exploring it. So I try to be as realistic as possible without being too graphic or too technical.
And that's the hard part, because the graphic parts can be so cool.
I know, but it's a family-friendly podcast.
I know.
And while I expose my children to all the anatomy and stuff, I don't know if other people would want their children exposed. And I think there was one last thing. So you had asked me if there was any changes I made or any puzzles I wanted to do but didn't. And one of them was, I thought it would be kind of a fun logic-y puzzle to do a daily pill organizer with food.
Oh.
So
Totally
you
fair.
have to
That
take
fit.
Right? But I struggle to find the balance between like chore and puzzle.
Yes. The Nancy Drew conundrum.
Yes. Oh my God. That's my kid's favorite part of Nancy Drew. Like, they're like, I get to make breakfast.
People are so into that.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, oh no. But yeah, so it'd been like, you should take your antacid plus or minus 2 hours with the rest of your meds so it doesn't cancel them out. Or if you take iron, you should have vitamin C with it to help with absorption. And
apparently not dairy at the same time, I've been told.
Really?
Apparently. I've definitely been told provitamin C and try to go light on the dairy around the time that you're taking your iron. I have big iron problems.
I do too. Yeah. Me too. I usually have a cup of ice that I'm chomping on. But yeah, just things like that. Because I thought it'd be kind of, again, because I don't know how to do things for fun. It had to be educational. So like, you can cycle your ibuprofen and, what do you guys call it? Paracetamol? Yep. You can cycle it every 3 hours with each other. And so you always maintain therapeutic level.
Nice.
But anyway,
yeah.
but
and
ultimately I ruled it out.
Logic puzzles are really hard. Even simple seeming ones, they're really difficult to write.
Yeah. Yeah, very much. But yeah, so that was kind of my thought process and all those fun things. And I really enjoyed kind of the crossover of doing this. I was nervous to do like an official escape room because when I do them with my students, I feel fine with them being educational. But then doing it for this, I'm like, will the general public care? I don't know. We'll find out.
That'll be fine.
Oh, our audience is not the general public. Everyone is enthusiasts for this sort of thing. So yes, still fine there.
That's true. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I had a great time.
Thank you for
really
bringing
lovely.
this
Thank
to
you for
us.
running
It's
the
wonderful.
room.
I thought it really made the most of the medium. Like, it's the sort of thing where I had such a great time with this as an experience. I was saying, I want to bring this to more people. You should give this to like high schoolers in schools. I don't think that's possible.
But no, it was very fun. I really enjoyed it. I think, the 5 different time settings and the getting the medicine not as like a task but as a reward feels really good. So you can kind of keep track. The whole thing was very enjoyable. It was a really nice use of space. You did also make it Dr. Monk, which my head is named after Monk, who was in Solve This Murder.
Yeah.
In, the Furtive Fiend. There was Monk's Emporium. Was there a reason for that, or just a bit of fun? You needed a name.
It was alliteration, and I wanted to be Mr. Monk, and then it got changed to Dr. Monk, but it's still fine. It's Monk's medical milestones, so.
Wonderful. Well, it was great.
Fun.
It was lovely. So there you go. There's still a patron in this one.
And you mentioned there was another Discord user in this one as well.
Oh, yeah. So I'm really big on inclusivity, and so I wanted to represent nursing well. And so Vincent, or screen name Volupy, is a nurse and did the shift report.
Nice.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, thank you to Volupy for telling us all about the problems here.
So, Leah, would you agree that rather than watching medical dramas and things like that, that people should listen to this room instead to get their most accurate knowledge?
I mean, other than there wasn't a lot of teamwork going on like there is in the real clinical setting, or time travel, but yeah, sure. It's a good place to start if you're interested in medicine or healthcare in any capacity, and this didn't completely freak you out, then maybe explore it further.
Oh, so much. Like, if it came with the ability to set your own extremely limited hours, I would love it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, without any of the pressure and responsibility, it's great.
Maybe some of the people as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming and running a room for us. We really enjoyed it. Thank you, Danny, for playing along with me.
Thank you. Definitely needed the teamwork for this one.
I don't know. I think you would have done fine. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having fun with this guest Game Master Connected arc, which is not something we're used to, but it's been a lot of fun. It's really interesting to see how it's all going to come together.
It's nice finding the little ways that I feel like they're catered just for me and my interests. I enjoy that.
And also, if you want to help support the show, just tell people about it. Spread the word. It's the best form of advertising is word of mouth. So tell people either in person or online. Jump into forums and tweet about it and talk about it. And yeah, it's really helpful. We appreciate everybody who has ever told anyone else about the show. It's always appreciated and necessary. We need more. We need more listeners. No, we're fine. You can also support the show on Patreon. We don't run ads on the show. We support it through crowdfunding and donations to keep everything going. If you want to help there be more Escape This Podcast and Solve This Murder and free entertainment for everybody, you can donate there. Anybody at any level can appear as an NPC in one of Danny's rooms, and sometimes secretly as a doctor in one of Leia's rooms. But there is also this bonus weekly audio for all of the $5 donors of cryptic crosswords and playtest audio and 2-minute mysteries and Encyclopedia Brown read-throughs and all this fun stuff. There's a whole new weekly show for our $10 donors where we rewatch Charmed, which, again, has nothing to do with puzzles, but it's a lot of fun, and we're really enjoying doing that. There's monthly videos for the $10 donors. There's trivia for 20. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff. So go and check it out. We really appreciate everyone who supports us there. It allows us to do this. If it wasn't for that support, there would be no more show. It would have finished years ago. So thank you, everybody who helps support us over there. All right. That's the end. We'll tune in next week for another episode of
Where do we think
Night at the Clue-seum.
Where do we think we're off to
Where
next?
are we? Oh, you know what? Let's make a guess. Where are we going next? We're going to go...
I feel so. Our stamp for this room was a splash of blood.
Yes.
The leech. I was trying to make that happen the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to make it.
I thought about it, but then I thought you'd be sad if it smushed a leech in the book. So I just used some theater blood and I squirted it, and then I took a picture and superimposed it onto the.
Amazing. Nice. I reckon after this we're going into that taxidermy room.
Oh, I hope so. That would
I
be
think
great
we're going to
fun.
be attacked by a stuffed
It could also be
dog.
horticulture. Those are the two rooms that are closest to us.
That is true.
We do touch the Hall of Transportation as well. All of these rooms are connected. But I'll be very interested.
Maybe we do a loop. Maybe we go Monk's Medical Milestones into Mushnik Hall of Horticulture, up into the McFly Hall of Transportation, across to the Jeep Hall of Scientific Progress, then into the whimsical world of taxidermy.
That would be it's not impossible.
And then back out because that connects back to the main foyer.
I guess.
Who knows? We'll find out. All right, that's it, everybody. Thank you for listening. Bye, everybody.